Under the Veil, Chapter 11. The buck stops here. Sirius was staring at the bird creature, or perhaps horse creature. The bird-horse creature. Regardless, Sirius was staring at them. Sans, who had taken the second of the almost hilariously out-of-pace chairs and was now curled up rather comfortably, watched his friend scratch at his head and thought, "Don't strain yourself, man." "What?" "I dunno. Looked to me like you were planning something," he said. "That's a lot of effort for you." The wizard huffed. "Oh, ha, Rattles! I'll have you know my carelessness isn't for lack of skill, it's a willful disregard of caution." "Because that's so much better," Sans chuckled. Joking aside, Sirius was trying to sort something out. Was it a bird-horse creature, or was it a bird creature or a horse creature? Or was it a creature that was a bird but not a horse, but a horse yet a bird? We'll disregard all that. Namely, what should be done about Buckbeak. The hippogriff could stay a grim old place. He relished the idea of once again housing that beast in his late mother's old room. But there were a few problems with that plan. After all, the last time Buckbeak had lived there, an entire order had been available to bring in feed and so on. When it had just been them on the run, Buckbeak resorted to scavenging. In short, he didn't know if he could care for himself, Sans, and an entire hippogriff all on his own. Perhaps, he hesitated, not wanting to finish the thought. Perhaps. Whoa, what the hell? Hello, comrade. Welcome to Soviet Russia. Okay, do you want to help narrate?
Not really.
Well, we're reading Chapter 11 of Under the Veil. I'm narrating it.
Yeah, I'll just listen.
Alright. Perhaps it would be best if we set Buckbeak free. Buckbeak immediately interrupted with a head shake and a sort that clearly meant, "No way." Leveling its stare at his human companion, the hippogriff's feathered face expressed as much disagreement as a beak allowed. "Well, that's a no-go." Sirius sighed and, palming one hand over his scruffy face, confessed, "It's just, I know how bad it was, being cooped up in that place. If I don't want to go, then why should I make anyone else?" "It seems to me like you don't have much say in the matter," Sans observed, and Buckbeak nodded in agreement. "He's coming feather you or not, you want him to." "What? Didn't you say you were good at winging?" The wizard made a choked noise. That sounded suspiciously like an aborted laugh. "Merlin, Rattles, I am always impressed by the speed you launch those puns." "Oh, but this is just beaconing. I have a gigantic number of Sensing that Sans could and would continue should he allow it, Sirius interrupted swiftly. "Joking aside, we really do need to figure this out. I just don't have the means to take care of him." Sirius being a bad parent confirmed. This is some real high level conspiracy. At that, Buckbeak, he huffed and rose gracefully to his feet, like a ballet dancer. Ballet. The creature carefully stepped over to Sirius, looming over him where he sat in his chair. For a moment, everything in the clearing fell still. Did I just hear a soda pop?
Don't worry about it.
Worry, I'm jealous. What soda? This depends.
It's nothing.
You better tell me what soda it is. This is a life or death situation here.
It wasn't so I just fucking snapped something.
And it sounded like releasing pressure by opening a can of soda.
Yeah.
That's totally believable.
Yeah, it is. Very
Yes, it is very, very believable.
Is it Vietnam?
What are you throwing? Tacks? Are you throwing tacks on the ground? Tic Tacs?
No. I'm just cracking my knuckles, that's it.
Cracked knuckles do not sound like that.
It does, okay.
If you've not done it for 10 years, sure.
Nah, I think it's because I do it every single day. But it passed.
That's not how it works.
Yes, it does. To me, it does.
I have my eye on you.
Should I be worried?
Depends. Am I blind?
Maybe. Who knows?
Oh yes, I'm using a visual device to read something.
Yes. Agreed.
The creature carefully stepped over to Sirius, looming over him where he sat on his chair. For a moment everything in the clearing fell still, then delicately the hippogriff bumped his beak into the wizard's forehead. He felt somewhat like a reprimand. Sans openly chuckled.
That's the expression of someone who plans on doing the caring for.
Oh, and how'd you figure that?
The skeleton was silent for a moment before finally waving it off with a relaxed excuse. Plenty of monsters can't or just don't speak well. You get pretty good at reading people. Translation. I've seen so many expressions I know which one is and which one isn't.
Sirius's skepticism was plain on his own face, but he dropped the issue.
Just like he never dropped it.
He could guess easily enough that the living repeats for days or weeks, months or years would lead anyone to pay attention to the slightest details, keeping a lookout for any small change. Instead, he leaned into his chair with an athletic grumble. I'll just have to figure something out, won't I?
It was clearly rhetorical, but Buckbeak answered with a low whistle. Fantastic! Line up, ex-Fuzzbutt. Sans paused and sat up looking over his friend thoughtfully. Man, I need a better nickname for you.
Padfoot,
Said Sirius, smiling softly in reminiscence.
or Snuffles, I've gone by both.
Because of the dog thing?
Because the dog thing, yes.
He confirmed. The skeleton considered for a moment, closing his eye sockets in thought, then he stuffed his hands and pluckily back in his chair. Patty Paws.
Excuse me.
I've selected a suitable nickname. Patty Paws.
Merlin Sands, that's a terrible...
Sirius might have tried to smack him if he didn't if doing so didn't involve getting out of his seat. He stood up with a tight-lipped glare. There wasn't much heat in it.
I think I prefer Padfoot.
That's the thing about nicknames, Patty Paws, said Sans with a shrug and a grin in his usual sass. You don't get to choose yours. The wizard scoffed, vaguely annoyed, but also inexplicably pleased to learn another new silly name.
I gave you two perfectly good options.
But they weren't my perfectly good options, were they?
They were your options. I just said that, Rattles.
Sans dramatically pointed his finger guns in the air. Both hands fronted the fact that the image was lessened overall by his completely floppish posture in his chair. I make my own options, Patty Paws. So, random question. What is macaroni? Macaroni is a noodle. People say macaroni and macaroni is a noodle. Without cheese, there is no macaroni and cheese. Macaroni is the act of boiling water and shoving noodles in it for 8 minutes. Then draining it all out. That's macaroni. Then you pop open a box of Velveeta liquid gold shells and cheese. Pour all that delicious. Okay. Pushing himself up and out of his seat, Sirius gave his friend a peeved look, which quickly changed into mischievous. Mischievous? How do you pronounce mischievous or mischievous? Is there like a set way?
To pronounce what? Mischievous.
Because I've heard it pronounced both ways. Mischievous.
Yeah, mischievous. I'd say that.
Mischief. Alright. Changed into one of mischief. He drew his wallet with a quick, dramatic flourish and swish and flick. Waving it with more unnecessary fanciness, vanished both chairs. Sans, however, stayed in place with a cheating scumbag. Floating, eye socket still shut in just as relaxed as ever. Oh, come on! Sirius complained with a laugh. That's just not fair! Opening one eye socket so that he was winking at the... Not winking. Any thoughts on that? Sans a wink wink. Opening one eye socket so that he was totally winking, not winking, at the prankster. Sans simply grinned more broadly than ever, the soft blue light surrounding him. Brightened ever so slightly as he stretched in midair, an action done as much for show as it was for comfort. Cheat, remember? Doesn't mean I can't complain about it. True enough. So, why'd you vanish the comfy chairs? I really cherish the chance to relax. Sans releases magic, dropping himself on the ground with a light thud. Sirius was staring at the hippogriff again. We have to get going eventually. It's past 13 minutes. Will this trip be on me, or do you have a different idea? Well, he replied, humor seeping into his tone, how do you feel about a little flight? Turns out Sans wasn't very keen on flying. Not flying high, anyway. So here he was, an uncomfortable long distance from the ground, well out of his comfort zone. This is regardless of the fact that if he did fall, he could teleport to safety or, geez, just fly himself with blue magic. He clutched at the hippogriff's strange feather hair, trying both to be gentle and still hold on as tight as possible. Geez, Sans. Just use a flying bone or something. Gastroblaster. Isn't that better? To make things a bit worse for his anxiety, Sirius had cloaked the three of them with a particularly powerful disillusionment charm of his own. Like all charms of its type, extremely long, unnecessarily long, it caused a sort of almost invisibility, causing them to take on the appearance of their surroundings, aka a camouflage. Jeez. However, his version expanded on that quite literally. The edges extended beyond the target, gradually fading to transparent, making the border between hider and hiding place all the more indistinct. From the ground, with only the overcast sky behind them, any irregular blurring would be completely unnoticeable. And from Sans' position, it gave a disconcertingly uncertain perception of what was keeping him aloft. If it wasn't for his extra sense of the magic clouding him, he'd be more than just a little shaky.
We're pretty much right about the place, Sirius called over his shoulder when snatching out his words. Could you check for any wizards nearby? Yeah, sure. Turning his attention down and out, he felt around for any magic that seemed wizardy. There was a dense collection of spells or wards on one of the buildings, their destination presumably, and he made it hard to get clear read on the inside. Sans was pretty sure they were no wizards, though, inside or out. Looks all good. Not even many normal people about. Fantastic! Something about the way he said it suggested that he wasn't too happy that they didn't have an excuse just to leave. But he plowed on. Hold on tight! Landing wasn't fun, but at least it was fast. Fast and furious. Even if it being fast was part of why it wasn't fun. But no matter. Buckbeak touched down with remarkable grace, keeping his two passengers in mind. I wanted to hear Sans scream. How would Sans scream? Would it be like a dull monotone or something? Despite him feeling bone-chilling terror, he'd just go, Welcome to Mystical Arcane, where we talk about Sans screaming in lowercase. Yeah, do.
It sounds pretty weird. But this screen is probably just a laugh.
Keeping his two passengers in mind, it was a gloomy-looking street, all grey stone. Some of the buildings even had cracked windows. One of them was missing altogether. Replaced by a large sheet of cardboard. And some packaging tape. Dead bushes out front of every house, and rubbish piles rotting in the gutter completed the overall dreary scene. Well, I think I'll stop it there. That's 20 minutes. Pop. I mean, yeah. Mystic, this is the end of the recording. I'll do chapter 11 part 2 tomorrow. With Kronos. Let me just ask Kronos. Probably around, like 12 hours later.
Actually, what time is it for you?
12 a.m.
It's 3 p.m.
Which would mean it'd be 3 a.m. for you. How about...
I'd probably still be awake.
What about like 6 a.m.?
6 a.m.
Yeah. Because I assume you're... I assume you're 9 hours ahead of me. Or no, behind. Are you in 4-4 or 4-6?
What?
Or is it still 4-5 for you?
4-5 right now. very confused.
Hold on. Australian Central Standard Time is 9:30 hours ahead of Coordinated Universal Time. I don't know what that is. 8.
I guess ahead.
Time in Australia. Australia is weird. It's a country continent.
Yeah.
Okay, so I assume you are 15 hours ahead.
I guess so.
Because it only just hit 4 or 5 here. So, yeah, you're 15 hours ahead.
Ah, nice. Oh, your computer failed to update. Pretty sad.
What happened?
Just someone's fucking laptop failed to update. It's sad when that happens.
Six p.m. would be like what hour for you?
6 p.m. Oh shit, I don't know.
6 plus 6 equals 12. 12 a.m. plus 9 equals 9 a.m. It'd be 9 a.m. for you.
Oh yeah, I'll probably be sleeping.
Well, how about 8 p.m.?
8 p.m.
From here, it'd be 10. No, wait, no. 11 a.m. for you.
Yeah, I'll still be sleeping.
God fucking damn it.
Sometimes they wake up late, sometimes they wake up early.
Well,
It just depends.
I guess we'll do it at 6 p.m.
Yes. I'll probably be awake.
At what?
7 a.m. for me. Probably wake up by then.